And welcome to another episode of Hard Factor, presented by the Barstool News Network. It is Florida Man Friday, June 19th, 2020.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and today's going to be a very different Florida Man Friday. We've got Florida news up front and an interview with a Florida man about politics and more in the back, and an interview with an expert on the Coach Gundy situation. And on top of all that, it's Juneteenth. So this is episode number 457 of Hard Factor, and probably I'd say the most robust to date.
So robust, voluptuous.
Yeah, it's like one of our bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Buxom,
Yeah.
you might even say.
I'm a busty man.
Bursting
That's what
at
I
the
am.
seams.
I'm thick.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's so good that a story about a drunk monkey and voicemails and reviews are getting pushed to Monday. That's how good this is. So we're just getting stronger and stronger as 2020 gets shittier and shittier. Hard Factors, we're on the inverse. But happy Juneteenth to all. Before we move on, I wanted to give a little background about what Juneteenth is. It's also called Freedom Day, Liberation Day, or Emancipation Day. And the origins are from Texas on June 19th, 1865. When all the slaves in Texas were officially freed. It took until 2 months after the Civil War was officially lost by the Confederacy for the Union Army to get to Texas and force the proclamation on the most remote state in the Confederacy, officially killing slavery in the United States for good. Sounds like a good candidate for a national U.S. holiday, if you ask me. It's recognized in 49 states, I think, right now. So happy Juneteenth to everybody. Happy Florida Man Friday.
What state doesn't work?
Yeah, who's a holdout?
Never mind. Happy Juneteenth.
Mark, get us going.
All right, guys. My wife sent me a pretty fucked up one, and let's just get right into it. This headline out of Polk County reads, 58-year-old arrested for child porn, also purchased and ate soiled underwear.
What?
Yeah. So some guy that was into child porn also
Did they need to put the 8 part in there? I mean, it's kind of implied if you're purchasing soiled underwear, what you're going to do with it.
Yeah,
you
they
think
wanted
it's
you to
implied?
know. No, I mean,
You think it's implied you'd eat it?
Yeah, I
Soiled
thought we
underwear?
joked about
Yes.
People wore it on their head. I don't know if you'd eat it. Why do you
What
think
else do you do with soiled underwear
I
if
thought
not
they
eat
just
it?
Smell
No,
it. Just smell
definitely
it.
not eat it. Yes.
Yeah, no, that's how it starts, Will. But then they can't help themselves. It's like putting a nice juicy steak under your nose.
This definitely wasn't this guy's first pair. So Sheriff Grady Judd, our guy in the county just north of Tampa, that said something along the lines of he encourages his residents to blow anyone away that's like messing with their property.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that guy?
That's right. His residents will be in their homes with their guns loaded.
Well,
Armed and encouraged.
he's
If you try to
back.
start a fire in one of their kitchens, you're dead.
He's back, and he's got his hands full with some really sick guys in this county. Jose Arraza allegedly possessed and distributed child pornography, but that, wasn't enough for him to fill his sick sexual desires. He also, allegedly purchased and ate soiled underwear. And Judd said this about him at a press conference for Operation Guardians of Innocence 5, which is where they arrested 16 men that face a total of 1,400 felony charges, 16 pedophiles.
Shit. So that's like a catch a predator thing.
Yes, it's their 5th operation and most successful, it sounds like, 1,400 felonies. He said this about Arraza. Arraza was buying these things and ingesting them. Did you hear me? He was munching on them. This guy has a problem.
Right. I didn't know about this. I knew child porn was a thing. I didn't know soiled underwear was a thing. Also, I'm curious.
Munching on them.
Is it kids soiled underwear? And if so, this is a great way to potentially create income for single mothers, as long as you don't have to know who the kid is. They have soiled underwear all day.
I should have next year, baby. I'm thinking about now. What if you could sell the shitty
Child
will he go that young? Will he eat diapers?
I don't know. Well, Deb, the demander, right?
Hold on. He's got scruples. Will, he's not without scruples.
Yeah. I don't think Judd clarified. He did say this. There's a market out there, what kind of things get into soiled underwear, though, right? Sometimes you think you're just passing gas, and you're not. You can't trust a fart when you're over 60, but this guy will buy it. So he's implying that he also buys older people's.
This makes no sense,
dude. Yeah. Judd is the best. He's doing a stand-up routine out there.
Judd is not making sense up there because this dude's interested in kids, but then he's implying that there's semen in these undies, which wouldn't be possible. Now he's saying that
Judd's a superstar, Pat. He's a superstar superstar in his county. He might be a superstar in the entire state of Florida. We'll see if he goes into politics.
No. I feel like if Ed Orgeron took Grady Judd as his VP, that could, and they promised to legalize weed, that could win every state.
I think so too. He was up there for 18 minutes riffing, and he did mention, Pat, that he's not a comedian. He goes, why do I bring these things up? I don't bring them up for levity. I bring them up to paint a picture on how sick these fellas are. Also arrested in the Polk County child pornography operation, and the 16 guys I mentioned were a former pair of Disney employees, a local nurse, and a local pharmacist. Araza was an ex-IT specialist for Lockheed Martin.
Oof. Oh, great! So he probably
sick
like
puppies hiding in plain sight. Yeah,
he probably had access to like look at your texts and shit.
Child pornography is the fucking worst. These guys are the worst. All right, guys, this next one is a love story, but not a traditional one. This one is about the love a man has for his favorite thing, the thing that makes him most happy. For some, it's their favorite team. For others, could be their car. But for 25-year-old Florida man Justin Arthur Allen Couch, that's a four-banger.
It's his wiener.
Oh.
Close.
Is that a hyphenated last name? Or is
no, all four independent freestanding names. We've never had a four-banger.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's Justin's machete that makes him the happiest on this planet. Justin's love for the machete is multifaceted, guys. Much like the way the buffalo provided essentials for the Native Americans on multiple levels, the meat that fueled their bodies, their hides kept them warm, their bones made useful tools. The machete is Justin's buffalo. Not only is the machete Justin's weapon of choice, which subsequently got him placed in custody and charged with aggravated battery on Tuesday, but it's also the crown jewel of Justin's identity and self-expression, most clearly evidenced by the machete tattoo he has on his face.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So the guy with the machete tattoo is arrested for a machete attack.
Big time.
And it's like a teardrop on steroids. That thing is huge.
It wraps around his lower left eye.
Well, if it's like the teardrop, that's going to be hard to get. Every time he stabs someone, he has to have a 6-inch machete tattoo on his face.
It's tough. It's like the Ohio Buckeye when you get a pancake block. For lack of a better term here, guys, Justin literally wears his affinity for the large knife on his sleeve face. On Saturday, guys, Machete Justin and an unidentified man got into it outside the man's home on Terrytown Drive in Spring Hill, Florida. Apparently, the man didn't want to let Machete Justin into his home. His reasoning was unclear. But things got heated, and I'm not sure how the man didn't see this one coming or why he would think about mincing words with Machete Justin, but that's what happened. And before he knew it, the man was on the wrong side of Justin's machete. According to authorities, as the argument reached a boiling point, Justin struck the man in the arm and leg with the flat side of the machete's blade, so a warning shot, so to speak. Quote,
he's a real expert. Yeah.
Oh, no, he's surgical with that motherfucker. If you got a machete tattooed on your face, you better know what you're doing.
He's using the backside. He's using all parts. Like you said, he's a machete.
No, he's an artist, really.
He's like Pele with that thing, like with the side. Like, yeah. It's part of his hand, essentially.
Couch then, quote, swung the machete at the victim's face, and in order to block the strike, the victim quickly placed his left arm in front of his face, and the victim's left forearm was struck with the blade of the machete. The victim felt severe pain and then passed out.
Well, it took off half his arm. So
this guy loves machetes. You should have known that, buddy.
Machete Coletti. That's why we call him Machete Phil.
Being that the man had learned his lesson the hard way, Couch packed him up in the car, which I'm guessing had my other car as a machete bumper sticker on it, and drove him to a friend's house, who later drove him to the hospital. The victim survived but cannot use or move his left hand.
That's bad. Wait, so he then saved the man after maiming him?
As a gentleman does. He learned his lesson.
The machete code? Yeah, okay.
He can't help himself. He gets into machete rage, and then the damage is done, and then he snaps out of it.
Taking it to the internet, at Perpetuity says, it's always the ones you least expect.
Got him. I'm looking at that picture. That is a egregious tattoo of a machete right under his eye.
Yeah, it's not well done.
No,
it looks more like a fat saber.
Like a pirate sword.
Right? Yeah, it's just.
What do
he
you want
says
to
it's a machete. You're not going to argue with that guy. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Someone did argue with him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, right. The one, bad mistake. Mistake. What did he get some charges there, or is he just okay?
Aggravated battery. He's in custody.
Oh, right. Okay. I was worried he was just allowed to go after taking the guy to the hospital. You're just okay. Never mind.
Maybe later in life he'll get like a tattoo of a book and get into books like on the
I
other
hope
side
so.
of the face.
It's gonna be real tough for him in jail with no access to machetes. It's gonna be real lonely.
All right, taking it from machetes to crossbows. On Sunday night in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, the entire town got a little more than they bargained for when Matthew Ross Peters, 42, headed out for the night on the town in his 90s Ford pickup, armed with two things, a crossbow and a baggie of meth. So
sounds like a country music song.
Yeah, and a drinking problem, probably armed with that too.
You'd think so.
And issues with his father.
Right.
A lot of, I mean, baggage galore, I'd imagine, with Peters here. Didn't take Peters long after driving around in that state doing meth, and he got bored. So he started pulling up to strangers on the road and then shooting the crossbow at them through the truck window. So just a classic gag. You get high on meth and you drive around the streets and you shoot the crossbow at people.
That's like the intense version of the rocks at a passing train.
Right. It's just a total psychopath move.
Why do they even sell the crossbow? Like, I think that you should. I think it should be harder to get a crossbow than a gun.
No, I was going to say this at the end, Pat. I was going to say that at the end of this story, but the crossbow, if there's anything we've learned from Hard Factor, is that the crossbow is the sign of a murderous psychopath.
Yeah, hunters don't like hunters use like compound bows. Like what is the purpose of a crossbow today?
Only to shoot people, according to what we've covered on the show. I mean, like maybe there's some competitions for accuracy. If you're in the hive and you're a crossbow enthusiast, please let us know what the fuck you do and if people are scary in the crossbow world.
It's psychos and Ren fairs. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Anyhow.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Sadly for 57-year-old Benny Davis, he was on the wrong end of this crossbow guy. Peters was actually able to hit him in the head with a crossbow bolt as Davis was biking along the side of the road, and Peters pulled up, pow, smacked him in the head with a crossbow bolt. Luckily, though, police were able to arrive on the scene, take Davis to the hospital, and he's fine.
Oh, tell me he was wearing a helmet.
He survived a crossbow to the head?
Yeah, he was probably wearing a helmet, Pat. Correct.
If he wasn't, he will be from now on when he goes out biking.
Those are called bolts, correct? He took a bolt to the head?
A bolt, yeah. It's either a helmet or a graze, didn't hit him full on. But luckily for Fort Walton Beach, the entire town, a meth head and his giant truck from the 90s carrying a crossbow is pretty easy to spot at the Seabreeze Inn parking lot by local detectives, where Peters was taken into jail with no further incident after being located for being a complete fucking nut job who was high on meth shooting crossbows at people.
Yeah, it was probably the crossbow mud flaps he had on his truck that gave it away.
Yeah, or the screaming while naked, but maybe that too.
Yeah, the blood.
Well, that's how they identify which room he was in.
Below the door,
smearing the blood all over himself naked in the parking lot. Of the
should we ask at the front desk which one he's in, or no? I think I know.
I think it's 12.
Pretty sure I've seen Peters. So
you might want to watch yourself looking through that peephole, though.
Oh yeah, crossbow coming at you. In other Florida man news, Matt Gaetz announced he has a Cuban son of no relation. He's been hiding from the public for years. So that's another Florida story we don't have time to dive all the way into for now, but that also is
and a bridge
Cuban,
is about to collapse.
Cuban American or communist?
He said legally immigrated. So I mean,
13-year-old Cuban when he was 27.
We're gonna have to. We have to dive a lot deeper.
It's like an Elian Gonzalez situation.
Big time. And then there's like a bridge collapsing in Florida too. A lot of us couldn't get to it. We got
so much shit. Right. So now we got to move on to the other stuff we got to get to today. Let's take it to an exclusive response to the Mike Gundy Shirtgate situation with OAN anchor Emily Finn. All right, welcome to the show to talk a little bit about the Mike Gundy Shirtgate. Is one of the anchors from OAN, Emily Finn. Emily, thanks for coming on. It's nice to finally meet you. I know we've been following each other for a while.
Absolutely. I'm thrilled to be here, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And so can you give us a little bit, I think a lot of our listeners might not, OAN is not carried on most cable networks, right? So can you give us a little bit of background about what is OAN and what do you do there for them?
Yeah, so I'll give you a little bit about my story about how I started at OAN. So, summer of 2018, I began as an intern, and so I got hired as a writer. This was kind of the one place that I thought was my wild card. Like, I'll probably never get an internship there, but okay, we'll just see what happens. So I'm originally from Michigan, packed up, moved all the way out to San Diego, decided, okay, we're doing this. We're gonna learn how to write, and before the summer was over, I went to the CEO of our company and said, I have some experience with anchoring from my college days. Give me one shot. Just give me one chance to prove to you that I could handle this. And he said, okay, bet, as all, 80-year-old men talk. and so he gave me a chance. I did my very first show at 21 years old and then got hired back as a fill-in anchor. So I have been part of every, from writing to anchoring to, a little bit of the producing side. I've been a part of all of it. So I see from how the stories are picked to how our fact-checking process goes to, how it's finally edited before it gets to the prompter and I read it. So it's been an incredible experience, an incredible opportunity out here.
So obviously the big news related to OAN this week is Mike Gundy, right, got in trouble, the coach for Oklahoma State, got in trouble for wearing an OAN shirt, it looked like on a fishing trip. Why do you think that is? Do you have any thoughts on that?
So I think the reason why he got in trouble was because his running back, his player, Chuba Hubbard, that he posted on Twitter and kind of automatically resorted to this cancel culture saying, I'm not going to play for you because you're wearing this shirt. And he didn't agree with what One American News stands for and the kind of content that we put out. Now, I have this up on my laptop right now. It's a quote from Mike Gundy that was just a couple weeks before this photo was posted. And he said, it was so, in talking about how he was flipping through stations and finds One American News, said that it was so refreshing. They just report the news. There's no commentary. There's no opinions on this. There's no left. There's no right. They just reported the news. And I've been watching them the last week. Yeah. Now, that's very different. Hold on. Let me go back.
From what he said.
There we go.
After that. Right.
Yeah, so very, very different from his remarks with his apology later on, which I'm sure we'll touch on in a couple moments. So I think the reason he got in trouble is because of this automatic cancel culture. And now, respectfully, I don't think that Chuba has watched an entire hour of One American News, because if he watched it, he would see that Gundy's original comment saying that we report the facts, it's not right, it's not left during our regular hours during the daytime. That's what we do, and we try and stay down the middle. Now, does every network have a little bit of a bias? Of course. And sometimes with the type of stories that we pick, you could see a conservative bias there. But it is very, very much ingrained in our training that we have to make sure that we are reporting facts first.
Do you think that if Mike Gundy was wearing a Huffington Post shirt, he would have gotten in any trouble?
No, I don't think he would have gotten in any trouble at all. I think that there is a very clear double standard in this country that if you are a conservative, you can be criticized and you can be, like we talked about, that cancel culture. If you are proud of that, I mean, you look at people who wear Make America Great Again hats supporting the president of the United States, and they get canceled as well. So you never see that on the other side. You don't see that if someone's out there wearing a Feel the Burn shirt, they're not, being publicly attacked. And so I think it's definitely that double standard in this country. So Gundy wouldn't have had any backlash at all if he was wearing a Huffington Post shirt, or someone like the Daily Beast or CNN or MSNBC, any of them on the left.
Right. On the flip side of that, do you see any validity to his point that if OAN is taking a stance opposite, maybe, or maybe not opposite, but just not the same as the Black Lives Matter stance, do you see that as creating friction with the cause that they're looking to support right now and trying to get legislation through?
So maybe let's reword that a little bit. So I don't think I understand what you're asking.
Yeah. So on the flip side, do you see any merit to Chuba Hubbard's point, where if OAN is coming with their coverage that is not in agreement with the Black Lives Matter movement, that it could be counterproductive to the end goals that they're trying to produce, which I guess is like police reform and things like that?
Yeah, so I do want to quickly point out here. Now, with Gundy's response where he apologized after, he said that he was disgusted with our coverage of the Black Lives Matter movement. And one of our talk show hosts, Liz Wheeler, had responded to that. And she said, if this is referring to the post that has been circulating on here, this doctored video of me saying Black Lives Matter is a farce, this is not accurate. Please do your research and please look into this a little bit more. And so what she was actually trying to say in that video is not that Black Lives Matter is a farce. It's that the movement is, and that the movement is a little bit unorganized, and that they don't really have a clear direction. And, they don't have a list of demands. They say they want real change, but what is the real change that they want? And so I think that, if Chuba had a problem with One American News and had an issue with our coverage, of course he should be able to raise that concern. I personally didn't think it was appropriate to just automatically call out his coach and cancel him and say, I'm not going to play for you anymore. And then that obviously a bunch of other people jumped on that bandwagon and said, okay, we're calling for him to be fired. I didn't think that was the appropriate way to go about it. But I think something that's really important is we need to bridge this gap between political parties and at least be able to communicate with each other and have a conversation. And so I would, personally invite Chuba and Coach Gundy to come to One American News. I would give them a personal tour of our studio. I'll introduce them to Liz Wheeler, to Alex Selvey, to Graham Ledger, our talk show host. He can come see what the process is actually like. I would love to invite both of them here and actually meet them and talk to them, because I think that's what our country needs. We need more tolerance. We need more love. We need more peace, and we need communication. And so, no, I don't think that he was wrong for raising concerns. However, he should be able to have a conversation with us so that we can come to a common ground and come to some kind of a mutual understanding of, we have no discriminatory, feelings toward you. We just want to help the movement, and we question the movement.
Do you think that President Donald Trump's tone with discussing the protesters, the rioters and stuff could be better? You think it seems like a lot of people think he's focusing more on like quelling the violent protests as opposed to maybe talking about the issue of systematic racism or anything like that. Do you think he could have a different tone maybe?
So I guess your question is a little bit, I'm trying to think of how to word this. If the protests hadn't turned violent in the first place, he wouldn't have had to say, law and order, we need to make sure that we're keeping our people safe. We need to make sure that we're supporting our police officers in this moment. I think that would have been totally different. And if the protests were 100% peaceful and they didn't get hijacked into these, burning buildings and looting, footage that we saw, I think it would have been different. And now that we're not seeing that as much anymore, and it is more and more peaceful, I think that now is the time for him to come to the table. And we just saw, I think it was earlier this week, President Trump met with the families of Rayshard Brooks, of Ahmaud Arbery, actually, I take that back. I'm not sure about Rayshard Brooks, but he met with some of the families of George Floyd, of Ahmaud Arbery. And I know that there was no media involved. There was no cameras in the room. It was just him sitting there having a conversation with these families to learn and to hear about what is happening. Why are you hurting? What can I do to help? And so now is the time to really change that tone to be much more peaceful. But in the moment, he had to protect the American people. I mean, you can't have cities burning to the ground. That's the job of the president to be able to protect us.
You hinted at it. I think that it's fair to say that you guys lean right. I think that it would, just like the Huffington Post leans left or CNN leans left, I think it's fair to say like Fox News, OAN leans right. Do you guys get any sort of preferential treatment at the White House since the administration is Republican, Donald Trump, or not, compared to like a left-leaning organization? Do you get to like sit up front or anything like that?
Well, quite the opposite, actually. So the White House Correspondents Association actually took away Chanel's chair for a while, so we didn't have a chair in there. We have it back, and we're able to be inside the press briefings now at this point. But no preferential treatment that I'm aware of. I'm actually in San Diego in our studio here, so when we go talk to our reporters, it's all kind of like this over a live feed. So I'm not in the White House every day. I can't speak to that, from my personal experience, but from everything that I've heard from everyone else, no, nothing like that at all.
But even facing a little bit of cancel there with the press passes a little bit. Okay. This is the last question, the predicted question. Go to predictit.org/promo/hardfactor20 for a free $20. All right, Emily, who do you think Biden is going to pick as his VP?
Oh boy. Well, we have lots of options out there that he's been considering so far. I mean, Stacey Abrams with her photo that she had, superhero photo.
The spread,
I hope she gets it just because of that picture. But I must admit, I don't really know who he's going to pick. I don't really, it's hard to say. I know Kamala Harris, she's in the running too. I think he definitely is going to consider a Black woman. I know he said a woman is who he's going to be committing to for sure, but I think he's definitely going to consider a Black woman given everything that's happened with the George Floyd protests in recent days. So that's all I would say on that. I'm cautious to pick one in particular because I don't want to be wrong.
We're thinking along the same lines.
Yeah, she's definitely the favorite. She's probably the overwhelming favorite based on the predictors predicted. Another question: since you're on the Pacific Coast, are you thinking of stopping by the Chaz or the Chop anytime soon?
Oh, right. Good question.
I am not. Absolutely not.
not gonna
I
move.
have no
Chaz?
interest in risking the Chaz or Chop or whatever they're calling
Sorry.
it.
Whoops. Don't want to say Chaz anymore.
Yes, it's not an autonomous zone. They call it Chop now.
Right. You better get that straight. And one last question. It's a two-parter for the Predict It. How many simps in the DMs sliding in each day?
Simps?
Yeah. Familiar
guys hitting on you. So it would be someone that's like overly complimentary towards you and trying to hit on you clearly.
Just really, after a good news report, Yeah.
I don't know how to answer this without sounding a little full of myself, I suppose. But there's a couple. There's a couple every day. Yeah. Sometimes
listen,
the sugar daddies
I root for even
there.
asking. So.
No. Yeah.
Look.
No, it's all good. I try and just ignore them. I just delete them. I have no interest, not paying attention.
But that's as hard to get. They're going to be more. They just want more. So.
Let that be a lesson. Don't simp, fellas.
Is that the life of a simp? You would just always want more. You never stop.
DMs nonstop.
I'll have to Urban Dictionary simp later on. I feel bad for not knowing that.
That was a question that came to us from our much younger and more in the loop interns. Emily, thanks for coming on and joining Hard Factor. We'll talk to you again soon.
Absolutely. I really appreciate the opportunity, guys. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you. Hey, guys. That was brought to you by Caliper CBD. And who says taking care of yourselves needs to be hard, right? Like who the fuck says that? I can tell you from experience, if you need a little help getting to sleep easier, calming down, and or being less sore, the solution is Caliper CBD. You're probably thinking, oh, CBD, I've heard of it. I think there's a store nearby that might sell that stuff. Guess what? Shut that inner voice up right now. Shut that shit up right now. Don't even think about that and listen to me. Caliper CBD is a store. Why would you go to a weirdo store? Trust me, you don't want to go in those stores. You have to
talk to someone.
And they're weirdos in those stores.
A lot of incense. You're going to want to just go straight to the net.
It's not calming going into those stores. But Caliper CBD is the best way to consume CBD. It's a tasteless powder that you can put in any liquid and boom, it goes down so easy. It's amazing. 20 milligram packets, each one of them exactly 20 milligrams. And the effects take place within 15 minutes, like before you can, think about it. Not only are the tinctures disgusting, tasting, and weird, but Caliper CBD crushes tinctures by having 450% more effective results with the CBD than tinctures.
It's fantastic.
That's huge.
After a long day of sitting in the old studio chair here, nothing relieves the soreness like a
it's 4.5
glass of Caliper.
4.5 times better and tastes 1,000,000 times better. Caliper CBD comes in an affordable 10 and 30 packs. Get the 30 pack. You can get started for under $20. Unlike some products out there, Caliper is completely THC free. All the goodness of CBD with no high. It's all natural, no non-GMO ingredients, no fillers or any of that stuff. Get 20% off your first order when you use promo code FACTOR at trycaliper.com/factor. You can try Caliper CBD risk-free for 30 days. If you don't love it because you're a weirdo, you will love it. But if you don't love it, they'll give you a full refund. That's trycaliper, CALIPER.com/factor. Don't forget promo code FACTOR, get that 20% off. And now, guys, for our second interview of the day in the same show, first time ever, here's Cam Kasky. Nice. All right, hey, guys, welcome to the show, Cam Kasky, who happens to be a Florida man, right? Florida Man Friday. Cam, for those who don't know, was a high school student at and during the Parkland school shooting. He has since founded Never Again MSD, a student-led gun control advocacy group, is an influencer on Twitter. What's the podcast, Cam? You have a podcast?
Oh, it's called The Bad Place. What are you pulling this description from? Is it like just
Wikipedia? Wikipedia,
okay.
Cam.
Wikipedia and Twitter bios.
Where do you think I'm always pulling it from Wikipedia? Thank you for joining the show, Cam Kasky. How's it going, buddy?
I'm great, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm sitting here in Florida, sunny Florida. I'm getting the fuck out of here in a couple days, actually. I'm going to Alaska.
Oh,
Right.
shit.
That's a change.
Some serious
Yeah.
social distancing out in Alaska. Yeah.
No, seriously. I was first of all, my initial thought was, okay, where's the farthest I can get from Florida and not have to worry about any sort of travel ban once the resurgence happens.
Found it.
Yeah, Russia would have been the answer, but Alaska is the second best.
Travel ban, though. He couldn't get
Спасибо
back from
большое,
Russia.
suka.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? Let's go to Alaska. I'm working as a landscaper for 2.5 weeks there because my buddies and I found an Airbnb. We found flights, and we realized that if we did roughly 8 hours of landscaping a day there, we'd be able to fully pay for the trip.
That's awesome.
So
Lots of land to escape up there, Cam, so don't get carried away.
Also,
Will's been to Alaska.
Yeah, I've been to Alaska a lot. And in the summertime, Cam, you're going to be fucking shocked because, like, they only get, like, sun, like, a few, months out of the year.
4 hours.
When the summer comes, everything grows, like, so fucking fast and huge. Like, you're going to see the biggest – you're going to have a lot of shit to trim. You wouldn't expect it, but you will.
The crazy thing is I'm actually only going because I'm trying to date into Sarah Palin's family. And I don't really know if she has any kids.
All right, hey, Cam, can we talk about this? So I've also tried to date into Sarah Palin's family.
You were like peas in a pod, you and Pat.
Yeah, no, and I've gone pretty far. What's your strategy?
My strategy. Well, first of all, are you serious?
Yes, 100%.
Dead serious, yeah.
Oh my! I completely pulled that out of my ass. That was not a pointed joke. No, I mean,
your joke is Pat's life for real.
Yeah.
Well,
infiltrate, destroy, Cam. That's my.
Well, look, I'll tell you. Sarah Palin came after me on Twitter once, and I remember when it happened. I was probably like in the wrong mindset on something. There was some sort of influence I was under. I can't even tell you which one, but I remember she tweeted something like a clapback at me on gun stuff, and I just commented, "The Tea Party sucks, LOL," or something like that.
Yeah, there you go.
She and I already have that water under the bridge. Which is super
Yeah, no, one of her family members is
nice
my realtor, but we'll get into it another time.
Yeah. Pat, is it illegal what you did? I don't know. We might not be able to talk
I didn't
about
know. I was joking. I needed a realtor. I needed.
I mean, it was a totally business relationship only, obviously.
You could totally afford the houses you were pretending to be in.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well,
that's another level of Barstool drama. I've been trying. Oh, I meant to tell you this. I really wanted to do this. I came on this podcast today to start beef with Ellie Schnitt. She and I had fight. Yeah,
we just had a debate. She was in one of our show
today, actually. Yeah,
she was on our
radio show today.
Radio show on Thursday.
Yeah, she and I do not see eye to eye on anything.
Well, hey, straight to camera. What's the issue?
It's not even specifically political. It's not personal. It's just I've written her a couple times. We're friendly, and I told her I'm going on Hard Factor to start beef with you, and I'm letting you know, Ellie, if you're listening to this right now, you and I are not cool. We are not on the same page. We're not friendly, and I don't want us to find a solution here. I want to win, and I want you to lose. Anyway, back to what we were talking about.
Wow,
Sarah Palin. Sarah Palin was the gravitas, if you will, of 2008. She brought it all to the table. I have a fucking theory she's running in 2024. Here's my guess. I think the 2024 Republican primary, we've got Nikki Haley, we've got Anthony Scaramucci,
Mooch.
Mooch,
Friend of the show.
I think Haley's got it. That's what we've been on.
We agree with you on Nikki Haley running. Mooch might run, but I don't know.
Mooch wouldn't run Republican, I don't think. Maybe.
No, he would run Republican. He would go up and he would say, remember back when the Republican Party was Ronald Reagan? Remember when it was all about Ronald Reagan? Remember when there was some respect in the Republican Party?
He would be talking, that's for sure. Yeah.
And I got to tell you, there's a lot of people out there who will hear Scaramucci say the word Reagan 80 times in a row. They'll be like, fuck yeah, Reagan. And also,
that's a magic number.
Scaramucci is somebody very close to my heart. His son, his 21-year-old son, is one of my best friends. I sleep on his couch when I'm in LA.
The Mooch is the man. He's been on the show several times.
We love the Mooch, man. Yeah,
Mooch is a big friend of Hard Factor program.
Yeah,
he's great. And I think that it's Scaramucci, Haley. I'm looking at the Kanye run as something very possible, specifically because Kim Kardashian has made these massive strides in criminal justice reform. She's really been saying and doing a lot of great things.
I want to see a Kanye campaign.
She's in her third year as in law school right now, right? Or second year?
Yeah, it's something like that. But Kim has really been doing great stuff. I really have been so against that family my whole life. And then I'm so predisposed to hate everything they do. But watching what Kim's been doing has actually been really cool because as a bunch of dudes and a bunch of dudes who don't give a shit about that kind of thing, we might glance over just how influential Kim Kardashian is to a lot of women around the country.
Hugely. And she influenced Trump executive orders in this
the whole family and the Jenners. But it's time to get some of those people that were just selling drugs peacefully out of jail, right? All of them.
I mean, that's why, like, I still am pissed off so much about Biden's messaging around pot, because yes, he says that we need this criminal justice reform, we need to relieve these people of these charges, but it's like he still vilifies pot specifically, and
because Cam, he's waiting he's for the data to come back about whether is literally what he said on the Breakfast Club. It was fucking ridiculous. He treats pot like someone that's never smoked pot, to be honest with you. And I think that, I mean, like, dude, getting the data back, Joe. Come on, man. We've been getting high since fucking 1950.
This goes for Biden and Trump. I mean, like, they grew up in that reefer madness age.
Honestly, after these two guys duke it out, I don't want another president that hasn't smoked pot. Ever.
So it should be a requirement.
I'm fucking serious. It's ridiculous. And, that's one of the big things about Biden's whole thing that's so crazy, especially because pot is just one of those issues where it's obvious. It's like how Biden and Obama were not good on gay marriage until way late in the game. And it's like, what the fuck are you guys thinking? Like,
yeah, well, it probably took them a long time to break those walls down, and during that administration, so.
Yeah, the early 2000s all the way through like 2014-ish wasn't great for the gays and the rights. That's for sure.
But let's talk about.
We got a feel good story for you. We do Florida Man Friday here, so we talk about all the Florida Man stories
related
on Friday. And we have one good here for you, Cam. It's not all bad stories we cover on Florida. We love Florida. My wife's from Florida, from Tampa, and this one's. Yeah, this one's St. Pete. Shout out St. Pete. So a tattoo shop in St. Petersburg wants to help people move past, and get past if they had hatred tattoos, racist tattoos, they're going to cover them up completely for free. So you let them know you've got this racist tattoo. I think you just have to send them a picture, and they are going to totally take care of covering up, and they do a beautiful job, and they're getting rid of everyone's racist tattoos. I think you have to also potentially tell them you're not racist anymore.
Right.
And then they'll take care of it for you.
What if you have just a really shitty tattoo and you claim it's racist?
Right. Well, see, that's my angle, Will, is if you have a shitty tattoo, I think a lot of people are probably just turning it into a swastika, with a little bit of ink, so that they can get their shitty tattoos covered up. But yeah.
And the other thing is, if you're good enough at arguing and you've got a strong enough command of semantics in general, you're going to be able to frame a lot of different tattoos as something that's possibly racist.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know Sarah. Sarah was a racist, and it says her name right here on my arm, and I'd like it covered up if possible, because Sarah and I are no longer together.
And you know what the crazy thing about, saying things and the politically correct crowd and cancel culture, I'm all about it. Just give me one freebie in case I didn't know. I used the word hooligan once as a joke. I was just like, the kids who go out and say that is a bunch of hooligans. And people said to me, Cameron, that's a term with racist undertones. And I was like, okay, cool. I won't use it anymore, because people gave me the one because they didn't think I was doing it on purpose.
What we need?
I wasn't.
We need Google Glass or the neural net, so that you can have a constant list of what words you can't say, just in front of your eyes.
And the thing is, I'm all about it, because I really am. I'm a believer, much more than a lot of people, and a lot of people who I imagine are in the Barstool world, in what words like that can mean to somebody. So I'm all about doing.
Sure, yeah.
It's pretty fucking easy to be at least a little politically correct. I still think that Wonder Woman and Black Panther were shitty movies.
Black Panther was terrible. Hey, but Cam, you can't cancel
both those movies. What do you mean Black Panther was terrible?
Yeah, I thought both of those were good too.
I hated
still
Black
would like
Panther.
the list though. Yeah,
it was so bad. But you can't cancel. You know what I mean? Canceling isn't productive. I think adjusting for progress is, right. What's your thoughts?
James Gunn. I have two thoughts on that. I'm actually for cancel culture in the sense that it's you need to be able to hold people accountable, and it really hasn't been a thing before, because all these people like Harvey Weinstein, Epstein, you've got fucking years of shit on them. And every time this happens, people are like, oh, who would have seen it coming? Everybody saw it coming. Yeah. Trump, Hillary, all these people were hanging out with Weinstein all the time.
Damon, Affleck, they all saw it coming.
But I think jail should be their cancel. I guess what I'm saying is cancel means write off forever. You know what I mean? I don't think writing off forever is an appropriate response. I think saying, hey, man, you need to be accountable to that. Here's why.
Fucked up.
Needs to happen.
one of the things for me that really pissed me off with the cancelers on Twitter, and this was actually like the fundamentalist Christian type crowd. This wasn't even like the people who are normal. Well, they've been canceling actually longer than Twitter has. But still,
the Christians have been canceling forever. Excommunication, original cancel.
Do you remember
James
James
Gunn,
Gunn?
Yeah. He was like he had like pedophile jokes.
I don't know it. Can you guys explain it?
So James Gunn did Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. You know that, Pat. And then he got fired after Guardians of the Galaxy 2 because they drug up his old like Instagram posts and tweets from around. We'll say
James Gunn, who did Night of the Living Dead and Jenna Fisher's ex-husband. Okay.
Yeah. Director. So
I always forget that. That's crazy. He
Circa
also did
2010.
Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo Monsters Unleashed, motherfucker. Great.
Well, why do you think he did it? Because he liked kids, maybe. Around 2010, he started tweeting like really wildly pedophile themed jokes, but they didn't read as jokes. And then he got fired. He's like, hey man, this was like 10 years ago and pedophile jokes were in. So I was just like trying to fit
in. I've read all of them because James Gunn is one of my inspirations. The thing that I'm a writer first and foremost, and as a Jewish, white, cisgender, heterosexual man, I feel as though I'm almost bound to say that I'm a writer. But I'm a writer, and the thing that made me want to write was James Gunn's first book, The Toy Collector. A lot of people don't know about it. It's a fucking brilliant book. It's an amazing capture of just...
Again, that title screams...
Now, I mean, in hindsight, like he's got a thing. He's got a fixation, right?
The implied was the adult toy collector. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's about this guy who found his only joy from his... It's an Arrested Development story about this guy who's a toy collector, and he starts working as a nurse in a hospital and sells like OxyContin and pills to pay for his toy collection. It's a great Arrested Development story. But the thing is, I read all of James Gunn's tweets that were like that, and look, they were... first and foremost, and this is what I said about when Louis C.K. came after the Parkland kids, I don't care if it's in bad taste. There was this whole thing, Louis C.K. was making fun of us. The biggest crime is that it wasn't fucking funny. And there's so much funny shit to say about the Parkland kids. I'm waiting for somebody to make brilliant fun of us. The South Park's Dead Kids episode is fucking hysterical. But, so yes, James Gunn's tweets weren't funny, but they were so critical of the drive of pedophilia. He was talking about like exploiting people's masculinity and things like that. And it wasn't funny, but then everybody from the cast signed this letter to Marvel that said, we want James back. Every adult, everybody in the cast, Chris Pratt, who's the biggest fucking Christian dude in the world. He's building crosses out of wood. And hanging out with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, right. Biggest Christian guy ever.
His Christian farm, and it's hilarious.
He came out and he was like, I thought about it. I talked to my family, my parents. I talked to God, and James is a great guy. Fuck all of you. And then DC said, okay, we don't give a shit. We're gonna have James Gunn come in and do Suicide Squad.
Yeah, Suicide
And
Squad.
then Marvel brought him back for Guardians 3.
So James Gunn,
awesome.
James Gunn is uncanceled, but you're saying, is Ellie all the way canceled in your book, or is she?
Is who?
Ellie Schnitt.
Ellie Schnitt.
Have you canceled her, or are you? What's the deal?
Her.
Are you just starting a beef here?
Well, no, I don't think other people should cancel Ellie. Ellie was shown to me by my friend Sarah, who was one of my good friends back at Columbia. She was telling me that like every girl like Sarah thinks Ellie is like their thought leader, which is great and all. But I don't want people to cancel her. I want her to know that I have personally canceled her from my life, and she means all but nothing to me now.
It feels good to have personal beefs that maybe aren't even popular. Like I hate Elon Musk. And it feels good when I talk shit about Elon Musk. I feel better.
I hate Elon Musk.
Yeah,
hold on, you guys hate Elon Musk after it came out that he had a threesome with Amber Heard and Cara Delevingne at like Johnny Depp's old apartment today? Do you hate him as much now?
No, I hate him more now.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
100 broke today, bro. It's coming out in that whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard lawsuit.
Serious.
Oh, I hate him now even more.
Yeah. That's not soft. I have a soft body, but that's a soft body.
Talk about the red pill. Yeah, he's on the next level.
I love Grimes. Grimes is a beast.
I'm not familiar with her work. I just know that
she has some good songs. Not familiar. I don't like her hygiene, but she has some good songs.
Well, yeah, she gave this interview where she was talking about how she only ate spaghetti her entire tour and her hair started to fall out.
And I was like, this girl's perfect for Elon Musk.
Kate? Yeah, no, I know. That's a weird form of rebellion. Just eating spaghetti until you get scurvy.
Back to this tattoo shop. So the first person, he had named John Dingler, he got like a very racist, wildly racist tattoo on the back of his bald head. It had like SS symbols. And the entire back of his head was just this white supremacy racist tattoo. They turned
it into the Black Panther poster, actually.
Yes, exactly. It's Wakanda forever now. They turned it into a bald eagle, but it's like his entire head. But the reason he came out and said, like, I was just caught up in prison. I'm not a racist. I have a mixed race child. How do I explain to my child that I have this incredibly racist tattoo? I'm getting fired from my construction jobs because everyone sees my bald head with all the Nazi symbols, and they fire me immediately. So he got
I
his
hate hats
tied up. Yeah. So that's the first guy that Fredo from Fredo's tattoo shop in St. Petersburg has helped out.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Cuomo for a second.
Yeah. hey, easy. Fredo from
not on
Fredo's
this show.
Tattoo shop in St. Petersburg, Fredo Ink and Company. They have hundreds of people that want to go there.
Wait, real quick, like getting rid of racist tattoos is great. I'm all about getting rid of racist shit. I understand the discussion about revisionist history when people are talking about Confederate statues. I don't give a shit. Fuck them all, whatever. But like, the thing is, he came in and he was like, yeah, I don't like my racist tattoos because people fired me and they don't like it's not like he said,
are they still racist is the question. The $1 million question is, are they still racist? And is Fredo just covering up their hatred?
That's a good point. He's not upset about the message his bald head is sending every day when he's in public. He's upset about how it might have
child.
Yeah, okay.
Explain it to his child.
He wants to raise a
so his dick isn't racist.
At least, yeah.
His dick isn't racist, but his brain is. It's okay.
I think we covered it. They should have to take like a quiz or something.
People use the worst shit as a defense for being racist, and that's another thing about like cancel culture and political correctness being a weapon. Obviously, like everything, it gets out of control and shit like that. But like, you have to come after De Blasio for being he's I think as a mayor he's very, very, very bad for Black people. Yeah. He's very, very bad for a lot of people. And he's like, oh, I have a black son, so don't worry about it, guys.
Oh,
and
it's like that, like dude. I stumbled across the Hodge twins last night. It was like, what is this thing?
I don't know who they are.
Yeah, don't look into it.
Don't look into the Hodge twins.
It's these two guys that were comedians. They're like meathead comedians. They're African American dudes. And they straight leaned into MAGA culture for the paycheck. Clearly, like if you go on their Reddit thread, people are like, "What happened? These guys were comedians. They were funny, and now all they do is say the shit that's going to get people riled up."
How much are they making? Because
a lot. No, they're making a lot.
Like the Larry the Cable Guy phenomenon.
Christians have cash.
I would sell out for 7 figures.
You want to hear something racist? I mean, this isn't the. Do you want to hear something? Because I know everybody knows this. Racist Republicans love Black Republicans. And Steve King, obviously Steve King. I actually got escorted out of his office by the police. Fun fact. But
so did he recently.
Yeah, exactly. He brought Diamond and Silk. If you don't know,
right? Yes.
If you don't know Diamond and Silk, and you're listening to this, Diamond and Silk are two Black women who are very vocally supportive of Trump. They call themselves Donald Trump's #1 supporters. They released a song that's on Spotify. I hate to plug it because it's so awful, but I don't think anybody who listens to that will have their opinion swayed. Listen to Trump's Yo President. The song goes, Trump's yo president. He's your president. He's your president. It's fucking
sounds catchy.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, we could play that as our outro song today.
Yeah.
Perfect. Steve King bought either Diamond or Steve King said that he was going to bring either Diamond or Silk with him to the 2018 State of the Union, and he flipped a fucking coin for Diamond or Silk.
Oh man. Wow. Yeah, because one is a fabric and the other is a gem. Both are high end.
They sound like a Pokemon series. They sound like Pokemon Diamond and Silk.
Yeah, they sound like a non-dairy milk is what they sound like.
Sounds way too commodity based to be talking about.
The times are changing on civil unrest, and Steve King is out. As is Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben. They're gone.
And Ralph Northam is still here, baby. He's still kicking.
Right.
That's our governor. That's VA. We're all from VA. That's our governor.
Yeah, we had a listener DM us from Liberty University, and he was like, first of all, everyone at Liberty is not crazy. Also, we made these face masks that are Ralph Northam's blackface.
Well, the best part about the Virginia issue was we covered it in full when it came out. It's Ralph Northam did blackface like multiple times, is in the yearbook or whatever. But then the lieutenant governor also did blackface like even more times.
No, lieutenant governor has sexual assault. And then the other guy who's third in line had blackface as well.
Right. So the lieutenant governor, I think, was a black guy, right? And he had
she was a black guy who had
sexual assault charges. They couldn't go to him. And then the third guy was another white guy with blackface. Yeah.
So they had like 3 down. They couldn't replace the governor because
so that's why he was still there, because it was just like worse and worse and worse. The further you had to go to the janitor.
It's like Canada. It's literally like Canada. You've got Justin Trudeau who's done blackface before. Or, pardon me, he's at least
brown face.
Brown face.
Arabian Nights.
Multiple
times. It was like his go-to trick. Obviously.
Well, he had the costume. He had spent a lot of money on the costume. And the painting of the face was integral for him to really pull it off.
For him to get his body painted.
Right.
He had a box of makeup under his bed for Halloween every year that he just used for He doesn't know makeup expires.
Ooh, it's a couple weeks away from Halloween.
Time to whip out the old digs, baby. But I mean, I'm in fucking Florida. Like, you're talking about Virginia being, this situation where you've got these horrible pits. Our senators are Rubio, who, he and I have history. I went up and I chewed him out at the CNN town hall a couple years back.
So Cam, that was you. So I've been following you on Twitter, but I don't remember exactly who was saying what during the Stoneman Douglas thing.
Rubio and I definitely. I went up and I on the stage at the CNN town hall. I asked him, can you just say that you're not going to take money from the NRA? You can still support the guns. It's not about that. But if you support the guns, you're not going to need the money from them. And I'm sure, will you just say that you're going to stop taking the donation? And people, it was very interesting because I never thought about it when it was happening, but it was the first time a lot of people around the world, because, in a lot of different countries, CNN is the only news they'll get. In Africa, there's a lot of people watching. It was the first time a lot of people had watched really anybody, but also a young person talk to somebody in a powerful position like that. There are a lot of people who had never seen that shit. I'd never seen a kid walk up to a politician and say, and say all these things. Ooh. But, Rubio is not, I don't like him as a politician. I think that he's an opportunist. I think that he's, very, very much what a lot of the
Careful what you say about him. He's got huge ears. He can hear you.
Well, here's the thing, though. Rubio is one of our senators. Do you know fucking Rick Scott? Rick Scott is one of the worst people in the entire world.
We've covered Rick Scott. Didn't he have a bunch of fraud issues that happened?
He had fraud. He stole so much money from Medicare. He's one of the richest people.
Right. That's it. He had a big Medicare scheme.
It was Medicaid, I think. I don't know. But Rick Scott's one of the slimiest. Rubio's Rubio. But one thing I'll say about Rubio is that when you watch him in the 2016 presidential debates, he does not seem like a fucking crazy person. Whereas Rick Scott is out of his goddamn mind. He communicates like Joe Biden and he thinks like Steve King. And he commits fraud like Trump. So
you're the Holy Trinity.
And then our gubernatorial race, we had Ron DeSantis and Andrew Gillum. Now, honestly, at the time, for the first couple months of
DeSantis, winners there.
The first couple months of DeSantis, he was not the worst news in the world. He did a couple things with schools that were all right, and he wasn't really doing that much shit. And I said, you know what, if we're going to have a Republican governor for Florida, DeSantis isn't the worst call. Obviously, he fucking botched everything after that. His coronavirus response was terrible. He's horrible on racial issues. But then, Andrew Gillum, who was running, I was never the biggest Gillum guy, but, I really liked a lot of things he had to offer. And I thought, I fuck with anybody who's transformative. And then now he's like
he crashed and burned after the
Gillum was the guy that had a dead prostitute on meth in his hotel room, right?
Yes. I don't think she was dead. I don't think she was dead.
It was a he, I believe.
It was a he, and I think he was damn close to dead.
We'll double check. We'll double fact check that.
He likes to party to the brink of insanity.
He parties hard.
Being a guy makes me like it so much more. People. When I was shitting on Mayor Pete, people used to say, "Oh, you just don't want a gay president. Like you hate gay people." The thing is, Mayor Pete being gay was like what made me like him. So people calling me homophobe. I was like, make no mistake, him being gay is like the only thing I like about him.
It was the only canned answers. Yeah, I feel like I think Mayor Pete. A lot of people look at him and they say, well, that's a guy who's imitating Obama tape, right? And
I mean, have you watched the video? Are you familiar with the Recount?
The Recount, no.
The Recount's a Twitter page run by my friend Slade, and it's kind of like a little Now This-y, but kind of different, and they're with a lot less grassroots, and it's got a lot of graphics. but they're very much, I'm very friendly with them, and I love their politics because they shit on all the people I shit on, like Trump and Mayor Pete and everything. And they did an Obama voice video where they compared Pete's Obama voice,
I think I've seen that
Obama
video.
voice,
Yeah.
and Obama's Obama voice. And Obama does an amazing Obama. But they like, it's shocking how much these people, and you see it all the time. Politicians, every like young, at least a little handsome looking Democrat, all of these people come onto them and project upon them like, oh my God, you're gonna be next Kennedy. You're gonna be Kennedy. You're gonna be Obama, Kennedy.
So
Obama.
you end up
Like,
copying that because you want to emulate it, and then
Mayor
you end
Pete
up.
spent out hundreds of hours copying the cadence of Obama.
Yeah, just like Obama did Kennedy. It's like
I picture. Remember that week where everybody dropped out and supported Biden and Red winged Bernie? That week,
that cost us a lot of money, Cam, because we were betting on Bernie Sanders unpredicted.
We lost our.
We lost a lot of money.
Yeah, well, I went up at mock. So there's this event at in Virginia. I don't remember what university because Washington and Lee University. Sorry, Pot has really fucked with my memory, but it was in February, so I should remember this. Washington and Lee University. I was at this thing called Mock Trial. It's this great event. It's like 3,000 kids. They have great speakers besides me. Literally the day I spoke, it was Donna Brazil, who's this massive political figure, Trevor Noah. And then in between them, this dumb little white asshole who just comes. Like, how am I supposed to go?
You can definitely go. You're on the same stage with Brazil. Don't worry about that.
Cash the check, Cam. Cash the fucking check, bro.
Noah's a little bit.
Noah's a whale. Brazil, you can stand toe to toe with.
I wouldn't want to go. I wouldn't want to lead in for.
It's
Noah.
tough.
I was the lead in for Noah. I went up for 20 minutes. And look, I'm a Jewish person.
Look, at least you didn't have to go after him, right?
Yeah. Guys like Trevor Noah, some of those guys are just next level. You're like, fuck. I think I understand, but that guy sees an angle that I never thought of.
People appreciated my speech simply because I went up and I was just being like kind of like a goofy guy, just messing. I was wearing a t-shirt and jeans, and they liked it as kind of like a palate cleanser between Brazil and Noah, as just kind of like an act who comes in the middle. And
hey, you're Casual Friday.
There you go.
And
finding your niche, We're all
you're digestive is what they call it, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
The point is, they haven't gotten their prediction at mock trial for the nominee wrong. I'm not sure the exact numbers, but it's one of those things where they predict it almost every year. I think they fucked up once in like 1940, but it's a staple and we predicted Bernie.
Right?
Bernie.
And then 2 days later, what happened was everybody, Pete drops, Amy drops, and then they all start stumping. And then Texas, South Carolina, Texas, the South, basically.
Seems like it was rigged against him. Although Clyburn did have a big part of that.
Yeah, Clyburn was the lever puller.
Clyburn really upsets me, just in the sense that I cannot stand it when you can so clearly pin an election on one person. Look, if you're going to pin an election on one person, Clyburn is not a bad choice at all, very much. But it just shows how crazy our political system is, and it's not rigged. Like, a lot of people look at Clyburn as this great figure. So, pardon me, it is rigged, but
just coordinated. Coordinated.
It's broken.
I'd say.
It's fucking broken.
Well, the parties have so much power that they can make what they want to happen. Usually, with the exception of Trump in 2016, he's been sort of the only one that's been able to sort of crack through.
But between Bernie and Biden, not a clear leader or winner had emerged. Like, there was a lot more work for them to do
Bernie
within the Democratic.
if they had left the race unmitigated,
right,
without any changes.
Clyburn ended Bernie, and then the powers that be at the DNC danced on his grave.
And they're still on. Do you remember those fucking parties with Hillary staffers? Do you remember Hillary staffers were throwing bye-bye Bernie Zoom parties?
Yeah.
I texted a lot of my friends who are Hillary staffers. I've got quite a few, and I texted them all. If you're in this Zoom group chat, genuinely go fuck yourself. And they all said we're not about it either. We were Hillary staffers, but we're not here to celebrate Sanders, who's this great transformative figure. But the thing is, like, again, once going back to why I even introduced the Washington Lee thing, I picture with Obama, Pete, Beto, Amy, all these different people. I literally have this thought in my mind that there's this almost fraternity style, deep, dark, secret cave room, and Obama was sitting there, and there were torches, and Mayor Pete was being led by Bill Clinton. And
Pete will be back.
He was being led down a hall, and Obama said, "Pete, I appreciate what you've done. Tonight's the night you drop out and endorse Joe." And, don't worry, dude, we got you. We're going to take care of you. We're going to have you make TV appearances where you look like absolute shit. But the point is, welcome, buddy. You did a good job. We're putting you down right now. And then Pete had to pray to Obama. Wait, oh my God, sorry. My friend Sarah texted me happy birthday, and my birthday's in November.
Not that good a friend, Cam.
Oh yeah, she's the one. Oh, that's so funny. But I don't know. It's all so fun.
Well, that's why I got pissed at Yang, man. That's why I got pissed at Yang, because he was a new, fresh voice with some really interesting ideas, and he had a base that could have been taken out of the election cycle and really been motivated to do things, and he went straight to CNN, which upset me in a big way, because I'm like, dude, you're just going to lose your ability to be that fresh, revolutionary voice if you're at a major news network. And you didn't need to, because you're rich. It's not like you needed the paycheck. So why did you do that?
But there's only two parties.
Yang isn't as rich as you think he is. Him being a self-made millionaire, and he's very much a self-made millionaire.
He needs to work.
He went up there and he said, my father, one of the best things that has ever been said in a political debate to me, one of my favorite lines ever was when they were talking about immigration. And he said, my father grew up on a bean farm with no floor in China, and now his son is running for president.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm like, that's great. Yeah. Yang has made a business. He's a great guy. But
that was also the only line he had in that debate.
Yeah,
he didn't talk enough. Yeah.
He was one of the 2 or 3 least wealthy people running for president in this race. And some people called him a billionaire. And when Andrew did this thing with CNN, it broke my heart. When I saw that Andrew endorsed Joe, at the time at least, it broke my heart. I just bought a shirt online that says "Settle for Biden 2020."
The thing about that, Pat, like, being upset with these people who are coming in from a different angle as the establishment of the parties, is it's still, at the end of the day, there's only the 2 parties, right? And so Yang isn't going to all of a sudden in 2024 want to try to run if he's going to run for a different office.
Agreed, but I think his ideas are important.
So he's got to kind of kowtow to the leadership, and that's just how it works.
Agreed, but his ideas are important, and him going to CNN kind of invalidates his ability to have those ideas. I think in his mind
he can still get his ideas across as long as
he's like, it's relevant. A long game, it's a long game. I could maybe later,
To boil this down to what I think the core principle of that whole issue is people got Yang wrong. I think personally, I'm somebody who's been so into Yang gang circles, and I understand how Yang supporters view Yang. I understand how people on the outside view Yang. A lot of people who love Yang because he would be the president to wear a Star Wars tie. He would be. Republicans and Democrats really like him. 25% of his base voted for Trump in 2016. There's something, in a beautiful way, big government and libertarian about universal basic income, because on the one hand, it's the big government giving everybody money. On the other hand, they're giving taxpayers their money to do what they want with. There's this great quote where it's universal basic income doesn't pay you to do nothing. It pays you to do anything you want. And that's so great because of what's happening with the economy. But the point is, people loved Yang as the fun president, the people's president. And there's this article in Rolling Stone that said, random man runs for president. And I fucking love that, because that's what he is. I'm not a populist, but he's very much the people. And I love that. But first and foremost, what people didn't understand about Andrew is that, he had all these ideas and he was running as this fun, great candidate who was loving life and loves America. But first and foremost, Yang is about universal basic income, data security, and all these other things. And he'll do whatever play he can to get people behind this shit. So if he has to bend over for the establishment, you have to understand that he's doing it because it's not like, he wanted to be president. What he wants is Democrats to start adopting UBI, Democrats to ever fucking say shit about data security.
Yeah, now he wants to be in the cabinet probably, right?
I mean, I'm going to shit on Barstool real quick. You guys are massive on TikTok. TikTok is China's.
Well, not us, but yeah.
Are you telling me that the teenagers aren't wanting to watch Hard Factor bars?
Or fat white guys that cover news and politics?
We had a Hard Factor TikTok about a calendar year ago from today. I want to say we got this thing called the Auto Blow.
We got banned.
It's a blowjob machine. So like it's just like this giant machine. It looks like a blender, and it has like fake lips. It goes.
So people called me that to bully me in high school.
The Auto Blow,
blowjob
exactly.
machine. Yeah.
So we got that.
It's actually a cool machine. So not that bad.
And we did a TikTok where we're all like in a tracksuit, Adidas tracksuit, and we like come out from underneath the table while the auto blow is going, and we're smoking cigarettes, and we shove a cucumber in the auto blow, and it just like chews up the cucumber.
This is great.
And that was our first and only TikTok really, and it got like 5,000 likes within like 24 hours, and it was blowing up. And we were like, oh, we can do that, and then it got banned.
But we were saying,
are you telling me that Ellie never got you guys doing the Renegade?
No, we haven't. We haven't. We're gonna have to get Ellie back on now, especially with this new drama. I messed up. You'll be happy with me because I actually thought she had won the debate, and I threw the debate for her yesterday, and so Tommy Smokes ended up beating her. So
she was on our debate show yesterday, Cam.
Did you
we'll have to bring you on.
Cost her the debate yesterday.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you guys have to have me back on.
Hey Cam, thank you very much for joining the show. Enjoy Alaska. You got anything you wanna throw out there for us?
To everyone who's listening to this, I haven't watched sports in like 6 years.
Oof.
Ouch.
And also, I would like to announce my first ever congressional campaign. It's going to happen right when I turn 25 down here in South Florida. This is the announcement. I am running on the platform of being the second Florida congressperson ever to be a virgin. The first one, of course, being Matt Gaetz. But I am going to be the second Florida congressperson who has never been kissed, loved, or ever held by anybody ever.
All right.
So vote for me, virgins.
You got it.
You heard it here first.
Incels and virgins.
Just
please
a few
vote
years. We'll have you back on for the camp.
Cam Kasky, virgin.
Not incels.
I do not stand with the incels. The virgins, however, are welcome. They have to be peaceful virgins.
Okay. All right.
All
Okay.
right.
Let's see. We'll get back to you when that campaign's real.
Thanks, Cam.
Thanks, Cam.
Is this tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow.
I think so,
All right,
yeah.
Great. I'm so excited. See you guys
Yeah, we'll
soon.
tag
Thanks,
you.
brother.
Everything.
Much love.
All right. Thank you to Cam Kasky, Florida man, for coming on the show. That was awesome. It was great talking with him and Emily today. Nobody's got range like that. You're not going to see that on any other podcast, is my guess. And today, what you're going to want to do is watch the Barstool Comments of the Week show that comes out on the Barstool blog this afternoon. Keep an eye on that. Got some excellent comments. There's a piece in there where Kate has to do a pop-in. Highly controversial. You're not going to want to miss it. Have a great fucking weekend.